Hey, what's going on, everybody? So, Black Myth Wukong came out about 2 weeks ago at the time of this recording, and I think it's safe to say that the honeymoon phase, at least for me, for Black Myth Wukong, is over, and I want to be kind of critical and truly discuss, my thoughts on this game. Did it live up to the hype? What are the issues? Where could the developers have improved? All those sorts of things. So, if you guys are interested, make sure to drop a like and a subscribe, and feel free to share your thoughts with me on this. This is just a discussion. I really want to be critical of this game because it did get a lot of hype. So does it deserve it? I've played about 50 hours of Black Myth Wukong, and I was gonna make this video when I got the platinum trophy, but there's Astrobot coming out today and Warhammer Space Marine 2, and I don't really have time yet to platinum it, so I'm just gonna make this video now. I think 50 hours is enough. I have one playthrough under my belt, gonna do two more, but yeah, let's go ahead and discuss some of the criticisms I have about this game. So a lot of you guys may know this, some of you guys may not, but Black Myth Wukong was made by a relatively new studio. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is their first release. I'm pretty sure that's the case. And Black Myth Wukong was actually constructed and put together by 100-something people. Now, 100-something people sounds like a lot, but I'm gonna play, I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt here. 100-something people for a project this ambitious is pretty, like, it's on the low side in my opinion. This could have been like a 500-person project. It's really ambitious, and what they put out as the final product was overall great. Okay, I just want to say that now. And I think a lot of the issues that Black Myth Wukong has, and a lot of my criticisms here, are a reflection of how short-handed the staff for this game was. And I think overall they did a great job, and overall the game is great. There are a few minor issues though, like I'm not going to sit here and say it's perfect. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into some of those issues. I just wanted to kind of preface that before we got into it. I think that a lot of the issues this game has is a reflection of how short-handed the team was, because 100-something people for a project like this, in my opinion, is way too little. Okay, I'm just going to say it. Okay, so first of all, I'm not going to lie, I'm a little underwhelmed with the performance and like the graphics and stuff like that. Now, the textures and the art styles here are great. The resolution was great too. My main issue with this game is the frames. Okay, I played this on a PS5 on the performance mode the game has to offer, and I'm not gonna lie, like, there's other games that came out this year that kind of looked better. I ran into a lot of stuttering and a lot of frame drops, especially as I progressed later on into the game. It feels like as they made the game more and more, and they got to the later stages, they kind of didn't optimize it enough, as specifically for the PS5. I feel like PC probably is okay. I don't know. I don't want to speak for you guys, but like I said, I think that's just where like the budget runs low for this studio and for this team. I don't think they just did the best they could. Like, and it was playable. It wasn't like something that's super unplayable, but not gonna lie, I kind of went into this expecting a smoother performance in terms of the PS5's performance mode. Not the biggest deal in the world. It's totally still playable, and I'm somebody who's super picky about that as well. Okay, like I love my smooth performance mode on my PS5. All right, I'm a nerd about it, and I'm a little bit anal about it as well. So that's one complaint I have. Another issue I have with this game is the combat and the gameplay and the functionality. Now look, I'm gonna say this real quick. The overall gameplay and the overall combat, at the end of the day, is fun. Okay, it's a blast. It is so good, but it has its issues. Okay, it really does have its issues, right? Like, my first example here is like the different combos you can unlock in the skill tree. There's a lot of like special combos that you unlock, and a lot of the time they would just activate for me when I didn't want them to, and then when I would try to activate them in a boss fight or whatever, they wouldn't activate properly, it felt like. And I don't know if I was doing it wrong. Maybe I just kind of misunderstood the entire system. Let me know if you guys felt like that also, but that's how I felt with some of like the combos and stuff. And also the hitboxes are a little rough. They're not the worst thing in the world, but that's another complaint I've seen other people have as well, is like some of the hitboxes for some of the bosses are really frustrating, but that's just typical in my opinion. Like that, I feel like you can say that about like every single game that comes out nowadays. So yeah, those are my issues with the functionality and the gameplay. And like I said before, when it's boiled down, it's great. it at the end of the day, it's a blast, and that's really all that matters. But sometimes here, man, sometimes the combat and the functionality will make you kind of mad because you'll press a button, it feels like it doesn't work or whatever. That I feel like that's an issue. Maybe I'm just trash at the game. I don't know. At the end of the day, the combat and functionality is really, really fun, and they did a great job, but there are some issues. Moving on to my next complaint, okay, is the side content. Now, I know a lot of you guys are probably throwing your hands up in the air, all right, but hear me out, okay? It's not with the side content itself. It's kind of with the overall pacing of the game. And let me explain, all right? Throughout the game for your first playthrough, you're gonna be essentially forced into secret areas because you're gonna run into a boss where you're gonna need an item that's going to make that boss fight significantly easier. Okay, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but like, every single chapter has a secret area. Okay, there's some secret thing you have to do. It's pretty missable if you're just playing through the game normally. It's pretty missable, and there are some bosses in this game that are at the end of each chapter that basically require a certain item from you for you to be able to beat them, especially in the early game. Like I said, I won't spoil it, and that's not bad. It's just it's kind of frustrating in my opinion, just because like, I don't know, like if you look at like games like Dark Souls and Elden Ring, like the side content is there for you to get stronger, but it's not necessarily mandatory. And while I guess, yes, it's not mandatory in this game, there's some items that you really need to get in the side areas that make it feel mandatory. And I get it. Like, I understand. I think for your first playthrough, you should go through and do all the secret areas. But I don't know, it just kind of, it messed with the pacing of the game because I would, just get off work or come back from class and I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to play some of this game. And then I'm just too mentally tired to kind of, figure out this little puzzle I have to do in this area to get this item that's required for this boss. And, most of the time, a lot of people will just turn to looking up tutorials online and whatever. I try not to, but, it's whatever. At the end of the day, it's just a pet peeve I have. Like, I want side content to actually feel optional. I love the side content in this game. This game has so much side content to offer, and it's really awesome. But some of it felt mandatory, and it felt like a drag to get through because it wasn't clear on what you had to do. And this game was marketed as a Souls-like, and that's pretty much Dark Souls, right? But I don't know, and I have that complaint with From Software games as well. It really just kind of depends on the person you talk to. That's my take on it. I think the side content as a whole is really good, and there's a lot of content in this game, for what it is. But sometimes it feels like the game forces your hand to go into a secret area even if you don't want to, and I kind of have a bit of a problem with that. Let me know how you guys feel about that. Moving on, I really do like the spells. Okay, I love the spells in this game. I want to preface this, the spells are really cool. You got Mobilize, all the transformations, it's dope. The spirits, it's dope. However, I found once you have your core spirits and your core spells, you're not really inclined to switch them up as much. And that's just because like the other ones you find later on in the game may not be as good. Maybe I'm wrong and I haven't played around with it as much, but a lot of the spells, like, I just stuck with the core spells because I didn't find anything that was really good. And I kind of have a problem with that. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. It kind of depends on the person, but I have a problem with that because I feel like the developers wanted to make a point with this game where you could like respec whenever you want, whenever you're stuck on a boss, so you're not trapped into one build, so that you have a lot of flexibility with your builds. And in the spells department, specifically with the skill tree and everything, it felt like there wasn't that much flexibility because you're not going to have enough skill points to upgrade the spells, and there's a lot of just useless stuff out there, so you're just going to stick with the core ones anyways. I don't know, that's what it felt like to me. Maybe if there wasn't the free respecking feature, this wouldn't be a big deal, but there is a free respecking feature, which I love, but I think it's kind of synergized with the spells weird. Like, the skill tree isn't synergized that well with the spells. I don't know, that's a really weird complaint, but I think if you guys have played the game, you kind of know what I'm talking about. I do love the free respecking feature, and I love the fact that you can change your build on the fly whenever you want, but I don't think that was synergized well with the spells, because I thought I was going to be switching between a lot of spells, but in reality I wasn't. I was just sticking with what I had. And I don't know, that's just how I feel. A lot of people probably feel different. Some people might feel the same. I don't know. So yeah, in summary, that is pretty much all I have to say to criticize Black Myth Wukong, okay? I think overall this is an amazing, amazing game. Regardless of everything I just said, at the end of the day, I had a blast with this game, okay? I sunk 50 hours in like 2 weeks. That's a lot for me, okay? Like, this is a great game, and I cannot wait to platinum it and, you know, play through multiple times. But it's not the most perfect thing, and I want to preface that, because there are a lot of people who are just glazing this game to infinity. And I glazed it when it first came out. I think it deserves it, but the honeymoon phase is over. We need to talk about the issues, and like I said before, I think a lot of the issues are a reflection of, you know, the studio and how small of a team they had. I really, really hope that they make, you know, more projects in the future, because this is a really, really strong start. You know, this game made a bunch of money. Hopefully they reinvest that into making more games. Maybe they make a DLC for Black Myth Wukong. I don't know. This game's fantastic, and overall, for my final score out of 10, I think I'm going to give this game an 8.5 out of 10, okay? It's a great, fantastic game. It is not the most perfect game ever. It's not like the best video game of all time or anything, but it is a really damn good video game, and it is a breath of fresh air. Let me say this. It is a breath of fresh air, because, you know, in an era where everything seems to be some massive open world game or some new live service free to play game, Black Myth Wukong, you know, didn't follow any of those trends, and it stuck true to being a single player narrative experience. You know, that was linear, and that's pretty rare nowadays, and I really do think that this game is a massive breath of fresh air, and it deserves all its flowers for that. And, you know, all the developers for this game deserve all the success that they are getting, and I really, really want to see them continue this trend with strong projects moving forward. But yeah, that's all I have to say about Black Myth Wukong. I think that is the truth about Black Myth Wukong. Let me know what you guys think of this video. Am I wrong? Am I right? Let me know. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.